Jake Morrison wiped the sweat from his forehead as he guided his cargo ship through the docking bay of Kepler Station. The massive space station floated at the edge of human territory, a place where dozens of alien species came to trade and do business. His ship groaned as the docking clamps locked into place. "Nice landing, Jake," said a soft voice from the co-pilot seat. Zixthara, his Vellani friend, smiled with her large purple eyes. Her blue skin had a gentle glow under the ship's lights. "You only hit the docking wall twice this time." Jake laughed. "Hey, that's better than last month." He looked at his friend with warmth. They had been flying together for 8 years now. Zixthara was the best navigator in this part of the galaxy, and more importantly, she was family to him. Vellani were a peaceful people. They stood about 5 feet tall with thin bodies and long fingers perfect for working with star charts and navigation equipment. Most other species saw them as weak, but Jake knew better. Zixthara had saved his life more times than he could count. They finished their cargo delivery quickly. The station paid them well for bringing medical supplies from Earth. Jake stretched his arms as they walked through the busy corridors of Kepler Station. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved around them, speaking in dozens of different languages. "The diplomatic meeting is starting soon," Zixthara said, checking her wrist computer. "Captain Grant asked us to attend as civilian representatives." Jake nodded. Lisa Grant was the human diplomatic officer on the station. She often asked cargo pilots and traders to join these meetings. It helped show that humans and aliens could work together peacefully. They entered the large meeting hall in the center of the station. About 50 beings from different species sat around tables, talking quietly. Jake recognized most of the alien types. There were tall gray Andromedans, rock-like architects, and several species he had never seen before. Captain Lisa Grant stood at the front of the room. She was a small woman with short brown hair and a friendly smile. "Welcome everyone to our monthly trade discussion," she said. "Today we want to talk about shipping routes through the Kepler sector." Jake and Zixthara found seats near the back. Jake noticed several military officers from different species sitting at the front tables. One of them caught his attention immediately. The being was huge, nearly 7 feet tall, with dark red skin and sharp teeth. His uniform showed he was from the Draconian hegemony. "That's Admiral Korth Vex," Zixthara whispered. "I've heard he doesn't like other species very much." Jake frowned. The Draconian hegemony controlled a large part of the galaxy. They were strong and had many warships, but they believed their species was better than all others. Most humans tried to avoid them. The meeting went smoothly for the first hour. Different species talked about trade routes and shipping costs. Jake was getting bored when Admiral Korth Vex suddenly stood up. "This is all pointless," the Admiral said in a loud, harsh voice. His words made everyone in the room go quiet. "Why? Are we listening to these weak creatures?" He pointed directly at Zixthara. "Especially these worthless Vellani parasites. They can't fight, they can't build ships, and they can't even defend themselves. All they do is hide behind other species. Like cowards." Jake felt his blood go cold. Several aliens in the room made uncomfortable noises, but no one spoke up. Zixthara's blue skin turned pale. Her hands shook slightly. "The Vellani are nothing but navigation slaves," Admiral Korth Vex continued. "They exist only to serve their betters. They should be grateful we allow them to live at all." Jake stood up slowly. His hands formed fists at his sides. "Take that back," he said in a quiet but dangerous voice. The Admiral turned to look at Jake. A cruel smile spread across his face. "And what will you do about it, human? Your friend there is exactly what I said she is. A weak, useless creature that depends on others to survive." "Zixthara is my friend," Jake said, his voice getting louder. "She saved my life more times than I can count. She's braver and smarter than you'll ever be." Several people in the room started murmuring. Captain Grant looked worried and tried to step forward, but Admiral Korthvex moved faster. "Your friend?" The Admiral laughed. "This pathetic thing?" He walked over to where Zixthara sat and grabbed her arm roughly. "This is what humans call a friend." "Let her go," Jake said, taking a step forward, "or what?" Admiral Korthvex pulled Zixthara to her feet. She cried out in pain as his claws dug into her arm. "You humans are just as weak as these Villani rats. You make friends with inferior species because you know you're inferior too." Jake's vision went red. He started moving toward the Admiral. But Korthvex was ready for him. The huge alien backhanded Zixthara across the face. She flew backward and hit the wall hard, then fell to the floor and didn't move. The room erupted in shocked voices. Several aliens jumped up from their seats. Captain Grant was shouting something, but Jake couldn't hear her over the roaring in his ears. "You want to protect your little pet?" Admiral Korthvex sneered. "Then challenge me to single combat." "Oh. Wait, you humans are too weak for that, aren't you?" Jake knelt beside Zixthara. Blood ran from her nose and mouth. Her breathing was shallow and quick. One of her arms was bent at a wrong angle. "Medical team to the main hall," Captain Grant was saying into her communicator. "Emergency medical team now." Jake looked up at Admiral Korthvex. The alien was still smiling, proud of what he had done. Around the room, other aliens were staring. In shock, some looked angry, others looked scared. "I challenge you," Jake said quietly. "What?" Admiral Korthvex laughed. "I can't hear you, human." Jake stood up slowly. When he spoke again, his voice carried to every corner of the room. "I said, I challenge you to single combat, under galactic honor codes, you and me." The Admiral's smile got wider. "You? Fight me? You're nothing but a cargo pilot. I could crush you with one hand." "Maybe," Jake said. "But I'm willing to try." "Are you willing to face me, or are you only brave enough to hit defenseless people?" Admiral Korthvex looked around the room. All the aliens were watching him now. "This is ridiculous. I don't waste my time fighting insects." The medical team arrived and carefully lifted Zixthara onto a stretcher. As they carried her past Jake, he saw her eyes were closed. She looked so small and broken. "You're not worth my time, human," Admiral Korthvex said. "None of you are. Your species will learn to stay in your place, or we'll put you there." He walked toward the exit, his officers following behind him. At the doorway, he turned back one last time. "Remember this day," he said to the room. "Remember what happens when inferior species forget their place." Then he was gone, leaving Jake standing alone beside the pool of his friend's blood. Jake sat in the medical bay holding Zixthara's hand. 3 hours had passed since the attack. The doctor said she would live, but her injuries were serious. Her arm was broken in 2 places, and she had internal bleeding. They had stopped the bleeding, but she was still unconscious. Captain Grant came into the room quietly. "Jake, I need to talk to you." "Not now," Jake said without looking up. His friend's blue skin had turned pale gray. Her breathing was steady, but weak. "The Admiral's ship left an hour ago," Captain Grant continued. "But before he went, he sent a message to the Hegemony High Command. He's telling them that humans on Kepler Station threatened their officers." Jake finally looked at her. "Let him tell them whatever he wants." "You don't understand," Captain Grant said. "This could start a war. The Hegemony doesn't like humans already. If they think we're becoming aggressive, they might attack our colonies." Jake stood up slowly. "So we're supposed to let them hurt our friends? We're supposed to smile and say nothing when they call us weak?" "I didn't say that," Captain Grant replied. "But we need to be smart about this. Earth needs to know what happened here." Jake walked to the medical bay's small window. Outside, he could see ships coming and going from the station. Some were human vessels, but most belonged to other species. All of them trading peacefully, just like he and Zixthara had been doing for years. "Send your message to Earth," Jake said. "Tell them exactly what happened. Tell them the Admiral hurt an innocent being just because he could. Tell them he called us weak and inferior." Captain Grant nodded. "I will. But Jake, you need to be careful. If this gets bigger, you might be right in the middle of it." After Captain Grant left, Jake activated his ship's communication system. He opened a channel to his sister Maya on Earth. She worked for the Earth Defense Force in the Science Division. If anyone would understand, it would be her. Maya's face appeared on the screen after a few minutes. She had the same brown hair as Jake, but her eyes were more serious. "Jake? You look terrible. What's wrong?" "They hurt Zix," Jake said simply. Maya's expression changed immediately. "What happened? Is she okay?" Jake told her everything. As he spoke, he watched his sister's face grow more and more angry. Maya had met Zixthara many times over the years. The Villani had even stayed at Maya's house during visits to Earth. "That monster," Maya said when Jake finished. "Zix saved your whole unit during the Titan disaster. She risked her life for humans she barely knew." "I know," Jake said. "And now she's lying in a medical bed because some alien thinks we're weak." Maya was quiet for a moment. "Jake, I need to contact General Carter immediately. This isn't just about you and Zix anymore. The hegemony has been testing our limits for months. This might be the push they need to try something bigger." "What do you mean?" "There are reports of hegemony ships near our outer colonies," Maya explained. "Ships that shouldn't be there. If they think we won't fight back, they might decide to attack." After ending the call with Maya, Jake sent a message to every human cargo pilot, trader, and civilian he knew. The message was simple. "They hurt. My friend, they think we're nothing. Time to show them what nothing can do." He didn't expect much response. Most cargo pilots just wanted to do their jobs and go home. But within hours, messages started coming back. Dozens of them, then hundreds. "We're with you, Jake. Nobody hurts our friends. What do you need? Tell us where to go." Jake stared at his communication screen in amazement. Pilots he hadn't spoken to in years were offering to help. Traders were asking if they should cancel their routes. Even civilians on distant colonies were sending messages of support. Meanwhile, on Earth, Maya was in General Carter's office. Alex Carter was a big man, with gray hair and kind eyes. He had been leading the Earth Defense Force for 10 years, through good times and bad. "Show me the recording again," General Carter said. Maya played the security footage from Kepler Station. They watched Admiral Korth Vex insult Zixthara, then strike her down. General Carter's face grew darker with each replay. "That Villani saved a dozen human lives at Titan Colony," the general said. "She didn't even hesitate when the mining platform collapsed. She flew her ship right into the debris field." "She's not just Jake's friend," Maya added. "She's been helping human pilots navigate dangerous space for years. The whole Villani species has been good to us." General Carter stood up and walked to his window. Outside, Earth's blue ocean sparkled in the sunlight. "Maya, call an emergency meeting of the Colonial Council. All faction leaders, all colony representatives. I want them here in 6 hours, sir." "The hegemony thinks we're weak because we make friends with other species," General Carter said. "They think friendship makes us soft. They're about to learn how wrong they are." 6 hours later, representatives from every human world sat in the council chambers. Earth purists who usually didn't trust aliens sat next to outer colony leaders who worked with alien species every day. Maya had never seen them all agree on anything before. General Carter played the recording from Kepler Station. The room was dead silent as they watched Zixthara get struck down. "The hegemony has been testing us for months," General Carter said when the recording ended. "Moving ships near our colonies, threatening our trade partners, insulting our people. Now they've crossed a line we cannot ignore. An older woman from the Mars colonies stood up. General, with respect, this is one incident on a space station. Do we really want to risk war over this? Ma'am, General Carter replied, this isn't about one incident. This is about who we are as a species. We don't abandon our friends when they're hurt. We don't let bullies push around innocent people. And we don't let anyone call us weak when we're standing right there. A young man from the outer colonies raised his hand. What are you proposing, General? Total defense mobilization. General Carter said, every human ship, every human world, ready for action. We're going to show the hegemony that humans protect their friends. The vote was unanimous. For the first time in human history, every colony and faction agreed on something. They would stand together. Back on Kepler Station, Jake received a message on his personal communicator. It was from General Carter himself. Jake, your friend's attack has reached the highest levels of human government. We're mobilizing to protect all human alien friendships. You started something important today. Stay safe and take care of Zixthara. The cavalry is coming. Jake looked at his unconscious friend. Her breathing was getting stronger, and some color was returning to her skin. You hear that, Zix? He said quietly. Help is on the way. Outside the medical bay window, Jake could see more human ships arriving at the station. Word was spreading fast across the galaxy. The hegemony had made a mistake. They had hurt someone's friend, and now they were going to learn what that really meant. Admiral Korthvex stood on the bridge of his massive warship, the Bloodhammer. Through the main view screen, he could see 3 other hegemony battleships moving alongside his vessel. They were heading toward human space, and he felt very pleased with himself. Sir, his communications officer said, High Command has approved your plan to attack the human colonies. They agree that humans need to learn their place. Admiral Korthvex smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Excellent. We'll hit New Montana colony first. I hear they have many of those pathetic Villani living there with the humans. We can destroy 2 problems at once. What the Admiral didn't know was that his communications were being monitored. The peaceful Andromedan Collective had listening posts throughout the galaxy. When they heard about the planned attack, they immediately sent warnings to the humans. On Earth, General Carter received the message while meeting with his staff. Elena Rodriguez, the head of human diplomacy, was explaining the political situation. When the warning came through, General, an aide said, running into the room, emergency message from the Andromedans. The hegemony is sending 4 battleships to attack New Montana colony. General Carter stood up quickly. How long until they arrive? 18 hours, sir. Elena Rodriguez looked worried. General, New Montana has over 50,000 people. Half of them are Villani refugees who fled there after their homeworld was destroyed by pirates. And the hegemony knows this, General Carter said grimly. They're not just attacking us. They're attacking everyone we've helped. General Carter activated the emergency communication system. This is General Carter to all Earth Defense Forces. Operation Friendship Shield is now active. All available ships move to New Montana colony immediately. We will not let our friends be harmed. Captain Ben Parker was commanding the EDS Retribution when the order came through. His ship was one of the fastest in the human fleet, but even at maximum speed, it would take 16 hours to reach New Montana colony. Sir, his navigation officer said, we're not going to make it in time. Captain Parker was about to respond when his communications officer spoke up. Captain, we're receiving a message from a Villani ship. They're offering to guide us through the Kepler shortcuts. The Kepler shortcuts were dangerous hyperspace routes that most species avoided. The gravitational fields were unpredictable, and one wrong move could destroy a ship. But the Villani were the best navigators in the galaxy. If anyone could get them through safely, it would be them. Accept their offer, Captain Parker said. Tell them we're grateful for their help. Meanwhile, on Kepler Station, Jake was still sitting with Zixthara when she finally woke up. Her large purple eyes opened slowly, and she looked around the medical bay in confusion. Jake? She said weakly. What happened? You were hurt, Jake. Saad, taking her hand carefully. But you're going to be okay. Zixthara tried to sit up but winced in pain. The Admiral. He was so angry. I don't understand why he hated me so much. Because he's a bully, Jake said. And bullies always pick on people they think can't fight back. But I can't fight back, Zixthara said sadly. My people aren't warriors. We've never been warriors, Jake squeezed her hand gently. You don't need to be a warrior, Zix. You have something better. You have friends who will fight for you. As if to prove his point, Jake's communicator started beeping with messages. Dozens of human pilots were asking about Zixthara's condition. Even more messages came from other species. Andromedans were offering medical supplies. The Silicon architects were sharing intelligence about hegemony ship movements. The peaceful collective species were all doing something to help. I don't understand, Zixthara said, listening to the messages. Why are so many people helping? Because that's what friends do, Jake explained. When someone hurts our friend, they hurt all of us. On New Montana Colony, the colonists were preparing for the attack. The colony's governor, Maria Santos, was a former military officer who had retired to this peaceful world to help Vellani refugees start new lives. All human families with children moved to the underground shelters, she announced over the colony's communication system. All Vellani families, you're welcome in the shelters too. We protect everyone here. But many of the colonists refuse to hide. Humans and Vellani worked together to set up defensive positions around the colony. They had only light weapons, but they were determined to fight together. Danny Kim was a farmer who had lived on New Montana for 10 years. His Vellani neighbors had helped him during bad harvests, and he had helped them learn human farming techniques. When the attack warning came, he grabbed his hunting rifle and joined the defense force. They want to hurt our neighbors, Danny told his wife. That's not happening while I'm alive. Similar scenes played out across the colony. Humans and Vellani stood together, ready to defend their shared home. Meanwhile, Admiral Korthvex was getting reports that surprised him. Sir, his intelligence officer said, human ships are moving throughout the galaxy. More ships than we expected. How many more? The Admiral asked. Sir, every human ship appears to be moving. Military vessels, cargo ships, even civilian transports. They're all heading toward human colonies or strategic positions. Admiral Korthvex frowned. That's impossible. Humans don't have that many ships. Sir, they're not just using their own ships. The Andromedans are lending them transport vessels. The Silicon architects are providing technical support. Even species we've never heard of are helping them. 4. The first time, Admiral Korthvex felt a small worry in his chest. It doesn't matter, we have 4 battleships. No human colony can stand against us. But as the Bloodhammer approached New Montana Colony, Admiral Korthvex saw something that made his confidence falter. The colony was surrounded by ships. Not just human ships, but vessels from a dozen different species. They were all working together, sharing shields and coordinating their movements. Sir, his weapons officer said, there are more ships here than our intelligence predicted. How many more? Admiral Korthvex demanded. Sir, we count 37 vessels of various sizes. Most are lightly armed, but they're working together in a coordinated defense pattern. Admiral Korthvex stared at the viewscreen. He had never seen anything like this before. Different species working together as if they were one fleet. It was supposed to be impossible. Most species couldn't even communicate with each other effectively, let alone fight together. Sir, his communications officer said, we're receiving a message from the lead human ship. Put it on screen, Admiral Korth Vex ordered. Captain Ben Parker appeared on the view screen. Behind him, the bridge of the EDS Retribution was busy with activity. Admiral Korth Vex, this is Captain Parker of the Earth Defense Forces. You are ordered to withdraw from this system immediately. Admiral Korth Vex laughed. You think you can order me around, human? I have 4 battleships. You have a collection of cargo ships and refugees. I have friends, Captain Parker replied. Simply, and friends fight for each other. Admiral Korth Vex was about to respond when alarms started ringing on his bridge. Sir, his sensor officer called out, more ships are arriving. They're coming from multiple hyperspace jump points. Through the view screen, Admiral Korth Vex watched as more ships appeared around New Montana Colony. Human warships, Andromedan cruisers, even the mysterious architect vessels that rarely left their home systems. They all took positions around the colony, protecting the humans and Vellani living there. This is impossible, Admiral Korth Vex said. Species don't work together like this. But as he watched the mixed fleet move in perfect coordination, Admiral Korth Vex realized he had made a terrible mistake. He had thought attacking one human's friend would be easy. Instead, he had somehow united half the galaxy against him. The battle began at dawn on New Montana Colony. Admiral Korth Vex fired the first shot, sending a massive energy beam toward the human settlement, but the beam never reached the ground. 3 different ships moved together to block it, their combined shields absorbing the blast. Impossible, Admiral Korth Vex said, watching the coordinated defense. No species can work together like that. But Captain Ben Parker's fleet was doing exactly that. Human ships provided firepower while Andromedan vessels used their advanced shields. The Silicon Architects shared their tactical computers with everyone, and the Vellani navigators helped ships move through the battle without colliding. Admiral Sarah Mitchell arrived just as the fighting got worse. Her ship, the Ed's Guardian, led a massive fleet of 57 vessels from 12 different species. She had spent her whole career studying alien military tactics, and now she was putting that knowledge to use. All ships, this is Admiral Mitchell, she said over the communication system. Execute formation Friendship 7. Humans take point positions, Andromedans provide shield support, Architects handle targeting data. The mixed fleet moved like a single organism. Each species did what they did best, and together they were stronger than any one group could be alone. Admiral Korth Vex watched in growing alarm as his 4 battleships were surrounded and outmaneuvered. Sir, his weapons officer reported, we're taking heavy damage. The humans are targeting our weak points with impossible accuracy. How do they know our weak points? Admiral Korth Vex demanded. His intelligence officer looked pale. Sir, the Architect computers are sharing targeting data with every ship in their fleet. They know exactly where to hit us. Meanwhile, on Kepler Station, Jake was helping Zixthara walk around the medical bay. Her injuries were healing, but she was still weak. They were watching news reports of the battle when a special bulletin came on. This is breaking news, the reporter said. The battle at New Montana Colony has spread to 12 star systems. Human fleets supported by alien allies are fighting hegemony forces across the galaxy. Jake stared at the screen. 12 systems? How did it get so big? Zixthara squeezed his arm. Because you stood up for me, Jake. You showed the galaxy that some things are worth fighting for. On the screen, they could see footage of the battle. Ships from dozens of species were working together in ways no one had ever seen before. A human destroyer and an Andromedan cruiser were flying side by side, their weapons firing in perfect timing. Vellani navigators were guiding massive Architect ships through narrow spaces between asteroids, but the most amazing sight was the defense of New Montana Colony itself. Human and Vellani families were fighting together on the ground. protecting their shared homes. Danny Kim was leading a group of mixed-species volunteers in defending the main settlement. "They're trying to land troops near the school," Danny called into his radio. "We need backup at Sector 7. Carl Brooks, a retired human soldier, arrived with a group of Villani engineers. "The Villani rigged some surprises for them," Carl said with a grin. "Turns out our peaceful friends are very good at making things explode." The hegemony ground forces were confused and frustrated. They had expected to fight frightened civilians, but instead they faced organized resistance from humans and aliens. Working together. Every time they thought they had broken through, another mixed-species group would appear to stop them. Back in space, Admiral Korth Vex was getting desperate. His flagship was badly damaged, and 2 of his other battleships were already retreating. "Send a message to High Command," he ordered. "Request immediate reinforcements." "Sir," his communications officer said, "High Command reports that 17 other hegemony fleets are under attack across the galaxy. They cannot send reinforcements." Admiral Korth Vex couldn't believe what he was hearing. 17 fleets? How many ships do the humans have? "Sir, intelligence reports that over 400 human ships are involved in the fighting. But they're supported by more than 800 alien vessels from 23 different species." For the first time in his life, Admiral Korth Vex felt real fear. He had started this fight thinking he could easily crush a few human colonies. Instead, he had awakened something that was tearing apart the hegemony's military across the galaxy. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, "the human admiral is requesting single combat. She's challenging you personally." Admiral Korth Vex looked at the main screen. Admiral Sarah Mitchell's ship was moving closer to his flagship, alone. Behind her, the entire mixed fleet had stopped firing and was waiting. "She wants single combat?" Admiral Korth Vex said. "Fine, I'll show these aliens what happens when they challenge the hegemony." But as Admiral Korth Vex prepared for the duel, another voice came over the communication system. It was Jake Morrison, speaking from Kepler Station. "Admiral, Jake." "Sud," his voice carrying to every ship in the battle. "You hurt my friend. You called us weak. You said we were nothing. But look around you. Look at all these ships, all these species fighting together. This is what friendship looks like." Jake's voice was being broadcast across the galaxy. On human colonies, alien trading posts, and even hegemony worlds, people were listening to his words. "We didn't start this fight," Jake continued. "We just wanted to trade and live in peace. But when you hurt our friends, you hurt us all. And we don't abandon our friends. We never abandon our friends." Admiral Korth Vex felt something he had never experienced before: shame. Looking at the mixed fleet surrounding him, seeing species working together in perfect harmony, he began to understand his mistake. These weren't weak creatures hiding behind each other. They were friends who made each other stronger. "I challenge you to single combat," Jake's voice said over the radio. "Not Admiral Mitchell, me, the cargo pilot you called nothing, the human whose friend you hurt." Admiral Korth Vex stared at the communication screen. You're just a civilian. You're not even a soldier." "No," Jake said. "I'm not a soldier. I'm something more dangerous than that. I'm a friend who's angry." Through his ship's sensors, Admiral Korth Vex could see a small cargo vessel approaching his flagship. It was Jake's ship, the one he had seen on Kepler Station. The ship looked tiny compared to his massive battleship. "Sir," his weapons officer. "Sud, he's requesting permission to dock. He wants to fight you hand to hand." Admiral Korth Vex thought about refusing. He could destroy Jake's ship with one shot. But something made him hesitate. Around him, thousands of ships from dozens of species were watching. If he killed an unarmed civilian, even his own crew might turn against him. "Let him dock, Admiral," Korth Vex said. "I'll end this foolishness quickly." Jake's ship docked with the hegemony flagship. As he walked through the airlock, Jake thought about Zixthara lying in the medical bay, about all the friends who were fighting across the galaxy, about what it meant to stand up for what was right. Admiral Korth Vex was waiting for him in the ship's main cargo bay. The alien was huge, nearly twice Jake's size, with muscles like steel cables. His claws could tear through metal. "Last chance, human," Admiral Korth Vex said. "Surrender now, and I'll make your death quick." Jake pulled off his jacket and rolled up his sleeves. "I've got a better idea," he said. "Why don't you apologize to my friend?" Admiral Korth Vex roared and charged forward, his claws reaching for Jake's throat. But Jake had spent 8 years in the military before becoming a cargo pilot. He had fought in ground wars and space battles. Most importantly, he was fighting for something bigger than himself. The duel began, watched by the entire galaxy. The duel lasted 20 minutes. Admiral Korth Vex was bigger and stronger, but Jake was faster and smarter. More importantly, Jake was fighting for his friend while the Admiral was fighting for his pride. When it ended, Admiral Korth Vex lay on the floor of his own ship, defeated. Jake stood over him, breathing hard but victorious. The Admiral's crew watched in silence, unsure what to do. "It's over," Jake said into his communicator. His words were broadcast to every ship in the battle. And across the galaxy, "Admiral, you lost. Your crew can surrender with honor, or they can keep fighting and lose everything." Admiral Korth Vex looked up at Jake from the floor. Blood ran from his nose, and his right arm was clearly broken. For the first time in his life, he had been beaten by someone he considered inferior. "How?" the Admiral asked weakly. "You're just a cargo pilot." "I'm a cargo pilot with friends," Jake replied. "And friends make us stronger than we could ever be alone." The Admiral's second-in-command stepped forward. "I am Commander Vextel. In the name of this crew, I surrender our ship." "To you." Jake nodded. "Tell your remaining ships to stop fighting. No more people need to die today." Within an hour, the battle was over. The hegemony forces at New Montana Colony had surrendered. Across the galaxy, other hegemony fleets were also giving up when they heard that Admiral Korth Vex had been defeated by a human. Cargo pilot Jake returned to Kepler Station as quickly as possible. When he walked into the medical bay, Zixthara was sitting up in bed, watching news reports of the battle's end. "Jake," she said, trying to get up. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine," Jake said, hugging his friend carefully. "How are you feeling?" "Better," Zixthara said. "The doctors say I can leave tomorrow." "But Jake, what you did, the whole galaxy is talking about it." Jake sat down beside her bed. "I just did what anyone would do for a friend." "No," Zixthara said seriously. "Most species don't think like that. Most beings only care about their own kind. But humans ... You make friends with everyone, and then you fight for those friends like their family." On the news screen, they watched as representatives from dozens of species arrived at Earth for emergency talks. The defeat of the hegemony had created a power vacuum in the galaxy, and everyone wanted to discuss what would happen next. 3 weeks later, Jake and Zixthara were invited to Earth for the signing of a new galactic agreement. Zixthara still walked with a slight limp from her injuries, but she insisted on coming. "I want to see what we helped create," she told Jake as their ship approached Earth. The signing ceremony took place in Geneva, in the same building where humans had once signed peace treaties with each other. Now it was hosting the first truly integrated galactic government. President Nathan Cross, the newly elected leader of the human colonies, gave the opening speech. 6 weeks ago, a friend was hurt simply for being different. Today, we're creating a galaxy where friendship is stronger than fear. Jake and Zixthara sat in the front row, watching as representatives from over 200 species signed the Kepler Accords. The agreement created the Galactic Cooperative, A government based on mutual respect and protection rather than conquest and domination. The former Admiral Korthvex was also present, though not as a representative. He had requested to speak at the ceremony, and Jake had supported his request. "I spent my life believing that strength came from making others fear you," Korthvex said when it was his turn to speak. "I thought friendship was weakness. I was wrong. I hurt an innocent being because I was afraid of what I didn't understand. I asked forgiveness from Zixthara and from all the people I have harmed." Zixthara stood up slowly and walked to the podium. The entire hall went quiet as she approached the alien who had nearly killed her. "I forgive you," she said simply. "But more than that, I offer you friendship. If you want to learn what friendship really means, I will teach you." Admiral Korthvex stared at her in amazement. "After what I did to you?" "That's exactly why," Zixthara replied. "True friendship means helping others become better than they were before." 6 months later, Jake and Zixthara were back in their cargo ship, but now they were working for the Galactic Cooperative. Their first mission was to deliver medical supplies to former hegemony worlds that were still recovering from the war. As they approached the planet Draconia Prime, Zixthara checked their navigation computers. "We should arrive in 2 hours," she said. "The refugee camps are expecting us." Jake looked out at the stars through their ship's main window. "Zix, do you ever think about what would have happened if I hadn't stood up to the Admiral that day?" Zixthara was quiet for a moment. "I think about it sometimes. But Jake, I believe things happened the way they were supposed to. You showed the galaxy something it had never seen before." "What's that?" "That caring about others isn't weakness. It's the strongest thing anyone can do." Their ship's communication system beeped with an incoming message. It was from Admiral Korthvex, who now worked as a rehabilitation coordinator on his home world. "Jake, Zixthara," his voice said over the radio. "Thank you for the medical supplies you're bringing. The refugee camps here have humans, Villani, Andromedans, and even my own people all living together. 6 months ago, I would have thought this was impossible. Now I see it's the future." Jake smiled and activated the reply channel. "We'll be there soon, Korth. And remember, we're not just bringing medical supplies, we're bringing friendship." As their ship moved through hyperspace toward its destination, Jake thought about how much had changed. One act of cruelty had started a war, but it had also created something beautiful. A galaxy where different species could live and work together as friends. "Zix," Jake said, "what do you think our next mission will be?" Zixthara checked their mission computer. "It says here we're supposed to pick up a group of hegemony children and take them to a mixed species school on New Montana Colony." Jake laughed. "From battleground to classroom, I like it." "The children will learn what we learned," Zixthara said. "That friendship is stronger than fear, and that being different makes us more interesting, not more dangerous." Their ship continued through the stars, carrying hope and friendship to worlds that had never known either. Behind them, the galaxy was healing. Ahead of them, the future was bright with possibility. Jake Morrison had started as a simple cargo pilot who stood up for his friend. Now he was part of something much bigger, a galaxy where friendship truly mattered. And that, he thought, was the best job anyone could ever have.